Okay, so I'm gonna make you a go home video. I have not had any time to do this yet, but this is everything you need to know to continue the training with your dog, and just simple drills, exercises, things you can do to just carry on with it. This is stuff I do every day with dogs. Dogs learn off of repetition. I don't know what just happened there. Dogs learn off of repetition. You know, you continue to do something over and over and over and over again, and it becomes a habit. So everything I taught the dogs to begin with was all taught with treats. So if I want the dog to come to a heel, I took a piece of food in my hand like I have now. Kelsey, heel. I'd lure them back, turn them around, sit, reward. Good. And that's, you want them to spin to the outside. And once they sit, give them a reward. Both of your dogs do that very well. And if they start getting sloppy with it, you know, if you got your hand down here and you're like, heel, 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 and they're not listening, put them on a leash. The leash is going to be, if you don't have an e-collar, your leash is your best tool you can have. I can fully train a dog off a leash. A leash is there for guidance. So if I'm saying heel and that dog is not listening and going somewhere else, I can say heel, pull it, just a little tug there, sit, good. You know, I coax that dog to come to me to do that command. So if I want to put the dog on place, and I'm saying place, and they're trying to run off and go over here, I'm going to say, Kelsey, place. I just gave her a little tug at her neck there. I'm encouraging that behavior. Same with sit. Kelsey, Kelsey, sit. I'm pulling up on that neck. Good. Good, Kelsey. Good. Now stay. You know, if you wanted to put, okay, place. If a dog breaks, if I take one step back and the dog jumps off, and I'm trying to get it to stay, that leash is there for me to pull him back up on there too. So Kelsey, stay. Step back. Good. Kelsey, stay. Nope. Stay. Good. So that's stay. And she'll stay, and you know, once you get confident enough, Kelsey, stay. Stay. I can trust her. I can take off walking, you know. Stay. Good. Good girl. Heel. Heel. Sit. So sit, stay, heel, come, place. Those are the 5 core commands that your dog knows. The come command, I really teach that. If a dog isn't listening while they're coming, I'll get them on, when I say come, I mean, I'm going to get them on like a 15-foot lead. I'm going to let them be a dog. I'm going to give them a lot of freedom. And I'm going to put that e-collar on their neck. And the way I teach the e-collar is I start on low levels. I never shock the dog on high levels. So I'll put it on like 1, and I'll hit the button, and I'll wait for a reaction out of that dog. And as soon as I see a reaction out of that dog, that's their working level. So I have this on like a 4 right now. She works on really low levels. So I'll walk, you know, I'll let the dog walk. Come on, Kelsey. I'll try to get her distracted. Kelsey, come. Yes, good. I held the button down before I said a word. And then I said, Kelsey, come. And as soon as she turned to come back to me, I let off pressure. The dog learns to shut the pressure off by doing the command. And I go through every single command doing it that way. So I'll hold it down and say, Kelsey, sit. As soon as she sat, I let off that button. So this is how you start to collar condition, and you always want to follow up with something positive, because that's called negative reinforcement. And it's not very much fun with the dog. They're just getting shocked all the time and not getting any positive praise. I always follow up with like a double positive, like a good girl, and there's a treat, there's a double positive. So you go through all your commands doing that. Now the next training session you might get out and you want to mess with the dog and you have the e-collar on, I start to teach the collar a different way. I start to say, Kelsey, come, one little tap. I just tap the e-collar, good, good. And they learn the command very well verbally that way, what the actual words are for the command. They start to realize, hey, that come means this, and then one little tap. It kind of gives them a little giddy up to come into that command. So I'll say, Kelsey, come, or heel, heel, sit, good, 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 good girl. So, anyways, that's how the e-collar is ran. And when you get an e-collar, and if you have any questions whatsoever, just all I can express is, do not use the e-collar if you don't have a good understanding of it. Otherwise, you are just going to make backwards progress with it. But it is the best training tool you can have in the right hands. So that's the way I use it. I can't really think of much else besides 5 basic commands: sit, stay, heel. Okay. Leash training. If your dog goes back to pulling on a leash, this is how I train a dog to walk on a leash. So I always train the dogs on the left side. So if you have your dog sit, see that leash pressure there? I'm pulling up on her neck, sit, sit. She's going up to get on place here. She's right here. But anyways, if you walk your dogs on the right side, that's gonna feel uncomfortable to them. I've trained the dogs on the left side. Reason being, I'm a right-handed shooter, and if I go duck hunting or bird hunting of any sort, I want the dog on my left side because I'm shooting with my right. Same with leash training. I just always train the dogs on my left side. Something I've always done. So it does. If you put them on the right-hand side, they're gonna feel uncomfortable. So if your dog starts pulling on a leash, this is what you're gonna have to do. Also, the heel command is also for walking beside you. This is what you want the dog to know when you're saying heel. I want you beside me. Heel. I'll walk a straight line and I'm gonna turn. I want the dog on my outside all the time. You know, if I turn and they come over to my right hand side, no. I'm gonna drop my hand back down, and she's sniffing the ground. I don't like that. Pay attention to me. Sit. Sit. Good. Good. As soon as I turn, her head should turn. Heel. Heel. Good. I just go back and forth. This is how I leash train a dog. If they don't turn, I deliver a correction, which is a pop with the leash. Heel. And you always want to have slack in your leash. You don't want to be walking a dog with your leash real tight like this. You want a J shape in your leash. You want it to be nice and loose, because when you deliver a correction, you want that pop to come. You know, you don't. If it's tight and you try to give a pop, you're already sitting there just pulling the dog, and it's like some sort of reactive thing with dogs. If it's tight and you're walking, it makes them want to pull even more. So you want to deliver that pop if there is a correction that needs to be enforced. Come on, heel. Right. So she keeps wanting to drop her head and sniff the ground. I don't like that. I want the dog to pay attention to me. If they're sniffing the ground, they're not paying attention where I'm at. Heel. Now if I stop, the dog should stop. And if she decided to keep going, I'd give her a correction. So now if I step into the dog, I want her to stay on this left side. So you see how I just stepped into her and she automatically swung her hips and stayed on this left-hand side. Good girl. Good. Good girl, Kelsey. Good. And this dog, she's only been here 2 weeks. She's doing really good. And your dogs are the same way. They all know, just like this. And your dogs are you have to establish the dominance. Sit. they're pack dogs. You know, when your dogs were here, they worked like little angels for me. I gave them to your husband, and it automatically started kind of messing up a little bit. And he was good about showing, you know, delivering some corrections. They started minding him a little bit better. But they read your body language just like dog, you know, any other dogs. You have to be able to speak dog. And the way dogs speak dog is by my body language. I have to show that I'm the alpha. You're not gonna disrespect me. Sit. Sit. Good. And I deliver that by, I'm not gonna just let them jump on me. I'm gonna say, Kelsey, you're a good girl. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. She's not gonna jump on me. I've already made that correction. I don't want that. I want that calm mindset that whenever, if I get excited and I tell her good, sit down, sit. If I get all excited and stuff and I'm like praising her up, she can get excited too, but don't be bringing that excitement and jumping all over me and stuff. You got to keep that calm mindset, and the best way to keep them in that calm mindset, that state of mind, is don't get them amped up. If you have kids, don't let your kids get them all riled up and let them bad behaviors come back. Otherwise, when they come back, it's going to be hard to break them again. So you're constantly enforcing them good behaviors. Make them do certain things. Kelsey, place. So you can incorporate the obedience by doing little things like this. Get you a little board, get the dog out by itself, work with it, get an e-collar, keep e-collar conditioning. If the dog starts messing up, get a leash on him. Put a leash on that dog and control it, because this is my #1 form of controlling a dog. You know, just like that. If I was to start saying sit or something, she could ignore me, which yes, she has the e-collar on, she probably won't. But I just said, gave her a little tap there with the leash, just said, hey, no, sit down. And it works. And she's paying attention to me, she's listening to me. Good girl. Good girl. Let them know that they're doing good. Correct the bad, enforce the good. So that's just kind of briefed over. I'm trying to think of anything else. I put the dogs on place every time they eat. I put them on place. I set the food down. I sent you a video of this, of Duke doing it. I say place. I get the food out. I pour it in a pan. I set it down. I'm telling them to stay the entire time. If they get off and try to run to their food bowl before I even say their name, I grab them by the leash and I drag them back to the place board and I say, get a little bit more firm with them. No, stay. If they can't handle me just holding them by the collar and they're still trying, I'll put a leash on them. I'll sit here and hold their head up like this and make them sit, and I stay. Then I'll let them off and say, I'll snap my fingers. I'll say, Kelsey, when I snap my fingers and say their name and point at that bowl, they can go eat. So they've done that twice a day, every day. Both of them are really good at it. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. They're good at walking on a leash together. Same way, if you have them together and they're wanting to fight, or not fight, but torment each other and play, give them a couple leash corrections. While you have them both on your left-hand side, turn real quick and deliver 2 pops on both leashes and straighten them out. Hey, no, it's time to work. Not time to horse around. You're listening to me. I'm the dominant person here. So that's how you continue your training. Don't let your dogs own you. You own your dogs. Don't let them get away with little things. You start letting them jump on people. You start, okay, just thought of something else. So Daisy, she likes to bark at people. Whenever I was at the park, come here, Kelsey. When I was at the park, out here in my yard, there is nothing out here that distracts them besides the grass. You know, they're sniffing around all the other dogs that have been out here. But when you're at the park, there's lots of different things going. And test your training and stuff at different places. Take the dogs with you and see how they act in different places. That's how you know. Get them around distractions. You want to train in a calm environment, you know. You don't want too many, you want to keep that dog focused on you. So once you feel like the dog knows everything well, then you go test it out somewhere else. Daisy, she likes to bark at new people. She likes to bark at different things. Like if there's a squirrel or something, she's gonna be barking. You have to get her out of that state of mind to where she is barking. So the other day I was walking her through the park, and I'm sitting here, we're walking. Here comes somebody, quick. Here comes somebody on the bicycle riding by, and she starts going this direction to bark at them. I snapped that leash to snap her out of that state of mind. I jerked her neck to the side. Just as soon as she went to go bark, it happened instantly. I corrected that as soon as it happened, and we just kept on walking. As soon as I did that, and it was a hard delivery, you know, that pop was hard. I caught her off guard. You know, she wasn't ready for that. She's focused on that, and she's not focused on me anymore. I gave her a good pop, and we just kept on walking. I didn't stop. I didn't do anything. I just kept on walking. She snapped out of that state of mind, and she quit it instantly. And that's something you got to keep correcting. Every time she starts to do that stuff, you just got to take her out of that state of mind. No, we don't do that here. And when she stops, good girl. That's the behavior I want. You're acting good, good girl. If you have a treat in your pocket, hey, good. Pet her head, good. But we kept walking that day, and I tested her out a couple more times. I went around a few other people. She didn't do it again. We kept walking, and it's just a territorial thing. It's her, she's trying to establish dominance, like, hey, I'm here, trying to show everybody she's excited. No, you don't need to tell everybody that. You're with me, I'm fine. I'm gonna save you from anything that could possibly happen. Your dog's gotta trust you to take over. You know, I'm the dominant one. You don't need to worry. So that's kind of a brief over things, and I can sit here and talk all day about dogs. So I know I'm forgetting lots of stuff, but sit, stay, heel, come, place. Enforce them 5 commands, and that'll go a long ways. The best thing you can do with your dog every day, if you have the time. I know you're probably sitting here like, well, I work every day, and we got kids, and I don't know how I'm gonna find the time to work with the dog. That's why I sent it to a trainer. Yeah, I laid that foundation for you to continue to build off of. The dog knows everything it needs to know to continue on to be a better dog. So, one thing I tell people, you do that place thing when you feed every day. You put them on place, make them stay, teach that calm behavior around food. That's impulse control. You can do that. That's one thing you can do every day, every time you feed. You got to feed that dog either way, so you can add 10 more seconds on to make them get on a place board and sit there and do that. So the next thing, I do this with my wife and kids. We go on a walk. We live out here on the gravel road. We'll throw the kids in a wagon, and I'll grab the dog. She'll grab a dog or something, or I'll grab 2 dogs. You know, I work them both together. I'll put them both on a leash, same position that you'd be in. If your husband can take 2 dogs, and you push a stroller or whatever. I know I don't know how many kids you got, but if you can find the time to do a 10 to 15 minute structured walk with the dog, you take them on a walk. You make them heel the whole time. You make them sit. You stop. You make them stay for a second. Go back. Reward. You go on. Do a few turns. Step into the dog. Make them do silly things, just practicing those behaviors. If you have a big, I don't know, something to put them on place, like I have these big rocks at the end of my driveway, I'll make them get up on the rocks, tell them place, just kind of try to incorporate some of that obedience into that walk. And that goes a long ways, because you're just encouraging those behaviors. And that's probably the best thing you can do with a dog. And you're doing leash training at the same time. You have full control over that dog. So if you do get e-collars and you work with the dog, you feel like they have a good understanding of the e-collar still, and you let them off leash. There's lots of times I let Daisy and Duke both off leash. I'd go just walking down the gravel road. You can practice your recall. If they start running way up ahead of you, Daisy, Duke, come. You hit that collar and they come right back to you. You're practicing that recall, and there for a while, they would just stay right by my side because they didn't want to run up there and be called right back. They just get tired of being called back, so they were just hanging out by me as I was walking. And it's just good. I mean, all of it's just good things to do. You want to build that relationship with your dog to where you're the alpha, they respect you. You have to have everybody in the family to earn their place in line with that dog, and they all need, the dog has to be at the bottom of the list. That's how you get them to respect you, respect your family. Everybody needs to kind of work with the dog. You let your kids know how to handle the dog. Otherwise, like I said, that's where the bad behaviors start coming back. All right, so I sat here and talked for 20 minutes. I think I covered everything. I'm not sure. If you get out of, life gets crazy, you don't find the time, if you need to bring the dog back for a refresher, I'd charge you boarding rates. So just $20 a day. It won't take me long to kind of freshen the dog back up. They already know it. So say, hey, this dog's acting out. I need to bring it out for a couple days. So $20 for 3 or 4 days, and or $20 a day for 3 or 4 days. I can line your dogs back out, but it all falls back on the owner. When it's all said and done, training stops with me. They're with me 3 weeks out of their entire life, which is short, very short. I can't. If you look at that, out of dog lives for 12 years or something, 13 years, I'm with them for 3 weeks. It all falls back on you. So I've laid the foundation. You got to continue that. They're not robots. They're still going to act like dogs, and you got to give them a little grace on that side of things. They're not going to be perfect. We're not perfect, so I don't expect them to listen all the time. They're going to screw up, but the more you correct those bad behaviors, they start thinking, and they want to make you happy. They want to not get in trouble, so they're going to start making good decisions on their own. So all right, well, there's that. I'll try to send this to you. I don't know how that's going to go, but good luck.